everyone, it's Carrie from Carrie's Wreath Creations. I am here today to show you how to make a flower center out of a cording or rope. Here is one that has been completed, and so I'll tell you what the materials you're going to need will be, and then we'll put one together. So what you'll need in order to do this project, you're going to need half of a styrofoam ball. So this did come as a full ball, and what I did was I cut it in half with a sharp knife. So this is just under 4 inches across. I think on the package it says something like 3.8 inches possibly. It comes in a 2-pack, and I do find them at Hobby Lobby. I've also seen them at Walmart. You can also get different sizes depending on the project and what your, the amount of space you need to fill up in the center. This is going to go in the center of a flower style wreath. So this is plenty big enough for my purposes. You're also going to need whatever you want to use for your cording or your rope. So this, I also purchased this at Hobby Lobby. I already used about half of it. It comes in a 15-foot long spool. And like I said, I think I used half, maybe a little less than half. You don't need a whole one for this. I actually don't, unfortunately, I don't know exactly how much you use to complete this project, but usually I can get 2 out of a 15-foot roll like this with some left over if I'm doing this size. You're also going to want a couple of floral pins like this. And these you can buy usually like in a 100-pack at Hobby Lobby or Amazon. And then I'm also going to use a pipe cleaner so that I have something to put on the back to attach to my wreath. I'm also just going to use, you're going to need scissors regardless. And you're also going to want to use a hot glue gun for this. So I used, it's called a Sure Bonder. It was purchased at Hobby Lobby. It is cordless. I really love this glue gun. It does a great job with not a whole lot of, dripping and stringiness and things like that. So that is heating up over here. So let's talk about how we're going to get this started. So as I mentioned, I already cut this in half with the ball. It came as a full ball, and I cut it in half with a sharp knife. You could also purchase, I don't have one, but there is such a thing as I think it's a foam knife that heats up that makes it easier to cut, but I do just fine with my regular kitchen knife. It does make kind of a racket and a little bit of a mess, so I recommend being near the garbage can when you do this. Now, I'm just going to take the point of my scissors, and I'm going to sort of carve out a little hole right in the very center, and that's just going to give, I kind of like to do this to give my rope like a little place to kind of rest. I can kind of fill this up with some glue rather than just kind of worrying about my rope or cording having to sort of just balance on the ball. It's going to sort of go into this styrofoam. So I just sort of carve out a little bit. Let me just go over to my garbage can here. Get rid of that I have. And I might need to make it a little bit bigger depending on if this is going to fit in here. Yeah, I do need to make it a little bit bigger just so the end of my rope fits in here. And I'm also going to kind of trim off just a tad bit of that cording because it is fraying a tiny bit. Okay, let's see. Okay, that'll be fine. I'm going to go ahead and just cut this a little bit since it's kind of fraying a little to give myself just a fresh start here. Okay. And then I'm going to take my glue gun and I'm just going to put some glue in this hole. Okay. And then I'm going to put this in here just like that. Okay. I'm going to hold this until it's pretty secure. Since I'm kind of I've done enough of these that I can kind of hold this, and what I'm going to do is take one of my floral pins. I would recommend 3 floral pins. Some people have said things like, they are concerned about hot glue melting and their center coming apart. You could certainly add more pins if you needed to. I just haven't found that absolutely necessary. So what I do is I just put a pin in here very close to where I have that started, where I put the cording into the hole that I carved out just for a little bit of extra security. Okay. And we're just going to make sure that that has a little bit of time to set. Okay. And then what I'm going to do is I'm just going to start winding this around. So I just need to find a good place where this is going to sort of naturally kind of go down so I can start winding. So that would be like right here, seems like it kind of naturally wants to go there. So I am not being shy about how much glue I am using to get started here. And I also am giving it time to set before I continue, because you want to make sure you have that good foundation at the beginning here. Otherwise, you're going to run into trouble if things start unwinding as you start working with this. Now, I will say I'm using black here. And one of the things that I will say about using darker colors, because you can do these centers with all different kinds of, you can use bling rope, you can use, what else? You could even do like some kind of yarn, all different kinds of stuff, really. Regular, this is like a cording, but you can use like some kind of a rope, like to do maybe something nautical themed. With black, you are going to see, if you get messy with your glue, you are going to see it on the darker color. So just try to be as neat as possible about where you're putting your glue, because you're gonna, if it doesn't dry clear, you're gonna see it on the darker colors. The nice thing about this one is there might be a little bit of glue sort of oozing between the layers here, but you don't see it at all because it's just not noticeable on that particular color. Okay, so once I've given it a little bit of time to set, I'm going ahead and adding to my, continuing to wind here. Now, if you do have a little bit of glue creep up, which I'm already sort of seeing a little bit, I might be able to, I can kind of push that down and fix that. But another thing you could do is, get a pair of, even just like, I would maybe get something with a little bit of a finer point than this, but just kind of get in there and sort of dig it out. That's how you're going to get rid of any glue that you might see seeping through. Okay. And so I'm just going very close to the layer that I already glued down and just adding more to it and giving it a little bit of time to set, especially here in the beginning. Now I am a little bit off center. It'll be fine. I'm not really too concerned. I think with this, you don't necessarily notice exactly where the center is going to be, since it's kind of got this like braided sort of look. So it's not super obvious where the exact center is. So this is a little bit of a lengthier sort of process. I usually do not do these when I do tutorials or Facebook Lives. I usually do this ahead of time. But I have actually never recorded myself doing this, so that is why I'm doing that now. It takes total of about 15 minutes to maybe a little less, but to get this done. You want to just take your time and make sure that the glue is holding. You can kind of like you really want to press this down and make sure nothing's moving around or anything like that. And I'm just kind of pulling out these tiny little strands I see here and there as I go here. Okay, and I'm continuing. So at this point, we're going to just keep repeating this process till we get the whole half the ball covered. And then I'll show you how I'm going to finish it off when I get to the end. So you can feel free to skip ahead a bit if you want towards the end of the video. I do use Gorilla Glue in my glue gun. This is what we have so far. I got a little bit of, just have like should have cleaned off my table a little better. I got a few little threads of other stuff on there, but it's looking pretty good. Another thing that I'm doing as I'm going around here is I am making sure the glue kind of touches this previous layer here. so that the glue is, so that the rope, the cording, is not only being glued to the ball, but it's being glued to the previous layer to give it a little something extra to grip onto. Okay. Now with some of these, whatever, based on what you're choosing to use, I know some people that will, you know, maybe they would paint this ball, in this case, maybe black, before they would glue this on, just in case there's any chance you kind of see through a little bit. I am trying to make sure this is very snug, okay? I can kind of see the styrofoam, a very small amount, but since this is kind of this braided look, I can kind of just move the braiding a little bit and it kind of plugs up any place where I can see the styrofoam through. Okay, but you could, of course, paint it, or what else? Maybe even cover it with, excuse me, cover it with felt would work too. Okay, so as you get down towards the bottom, you can add a little bit more glue at a time here, because we've got a bunch of it that's already set, because we've already glued that a little while ago, so it should be somewhat dry and we can start going a little faster. Now I will show you, because since I'm a little off, I'm kind of already at the edge here, but I definitely need to go around probably 2 more times, so we'll show you how to fix that. Maybe just 1 more time. I don't think we need to go around 2 more times. Get a glob of glue right there. I'm going to go ahead and just get that off of there before it dries. Since it won't dry clear, I don't want that showing. Pick that off. Okay. All right. Continuing. All right. So I just have a little bit left to cover there. I kind of don't really need any more on this side, but we're just going to sort of, there's kind of enough room to do 1 more little layer here, and we need to, so that we can cover this side here. So just what I would recommend is make sure you definitely have some glue on that previous layer of rope, since you don't really have this side of the ball to grip onto anymore over here. Okay, I'm actually just going to hold this for a little bit of extra time to make sure it's sticking. Okay. And since this is technically kind of on the bottom here, I could even put a pin in there and that, which I might do, because the pin won't show then. The problem with the pins, it's nice to be able to pin as you go for the extra security, just in case you have some issues with the glue not sticking. Sometimes in hot climates, the glue doesn't want to cooperate after a certain amount of time. If the wreath or whatever is in the sun, it starts to kind of melt or just become compromised. The problem is then you got to make sure you're covering the pin. So I put that 1 pin in the very center, and I kind of put it down in that hole that I carved, so it doesn't show at all. You don't see the pin at all. It can be a little bit difficult to do as you're going around. Okay. So I just have to do, I'm just going to kind of go up to right here. So I just need to do a little bit more, another inch or 2, probably 2 inches, and then I'm going to show you how to finish this off. Okay. So this will take me to the end of, now my entire styrofoam ball is covered. So let's get some of these little, this is not glue that I'm picking off. This is just, I got little tiny pieces of styrofoam from carving out the the hole in the ball, and then I just have just little threads from other projects that are sitting on my table and very visible against the black. Okay, so I've given that a little bit of time. I mean, you know, if you're not in a rush, definitely hold on to it as long as you feel you need to. Now I'm going to cut, I'm going to cut about right here to give myself a little bit extra. Then I'm going to glue and pin onto the back of the ball. So go ahead and cut that. Okay. And it's curling because it's on a spool. So I'm going to sort of let it naturally do that. I'm not going to try to like pull it this way or anything. I'm just going to kind of let it sit right where it kind of already naturally wants to go, because I think that'll help the glue hold. So I'm just going to put a whole bunch of glue back here and lay that down like this. Okay. And then I am going to, so it looks like this on the back, okay? And then I'm going to go ahead and, again, multitasking here with holding down what I glued and getting a pin. I am putting glue on the edge of my pin to help it stay in that styrofoam ball once I stick it through, okay? And then I'm going to just go ahead and secure that by, well, make sure it goes into the styrofoam. There we go. Okay. So just like this. Okay. This is all still drying here. There's some of these little threads I got going on here. Now, another thing I do like to do is I'm just going to run a line of glue just right around the edge here. Just in case there was anything sort of loose on this last layer, that it's going to help secure that. So just a thin line of glue all the way around. Probably should put a little bit more underneath where I put that end. Okay, just like that. All right, so we let that set. And then the final step is going to be to add our pipe cleaner. I like to use pipe cleaners to attach my centers. So I have one last pin here. Okay, I think, I'm just wondering if this is secure enough over here. This is where I was kind of off the side of the ball where I needed to compensate a little bit. I could put a pin in there. It seems pretty secure, but we'll just see how it is after it completely dries. I might just kind of stick one more pin right there. But let's just go ahead and finish this up. So I'm going to take my pipe cleaner, put it in half, and then right in the center of my my ball here, I'm going to add some glue to the end of my floral pin. I'm going to just stick it in just part of the way. I am going in at an angle. With this, since you're using a domed shape, you don't have to really worry about your pin sticking through, but if you're using a piece of styrofoam that's a little flatter, you just want to make sure your styrofoam doesn't, or your pin doesn't stick through. So, and then I'm going to feed the pipe cleaner through it and push it in the rest of the way. Definitely use your little finger grippies or finger covers, whatever you want to call them, if you are, you know, want to get yourself burned, okay? And then I'm just going to put more glue on this to secure that. Okay. And then once that's dry, I'll go ahead and give this like a twist or two. It's not dry, of course, but I'll just twist that and then it'll go right into the center of my flower. So here is our completed project. I'll just get rid of some of these glue strands here, but as you can see, we have a nice center. You don't see the ball through it all, even though I didn't paint it black or anything like that. You can't see it through because I wound my cording nice and tight, and I was also just mindful of any glue on this black. You can see it if it dries. It's not gonna, you know, might not dry clear, so you might see any globs of glue, so you just want to get rid of those ASAP. So I only see one little spot that I am not liking that I might just go back and kind of pick at it a little bit with even just like tweezers or something. Actually, I just got it off with my nail. So that's the end of this video. I hope this was helpful. I hope it will, you'll be able to make some beautiful centers for your flowers by following these instructions. Again, you can use any kind of cording or rope, glitter rope, all kinds of different things. But I hope this was helpful, and I appreciate you watching me. Please feel free to check out the description box below, which will give you instructions as far as how to find me on other social media, Facebook, Instagram, TikTok, Pinterest. I also have quite a few other videos here on YouTube, other flower center videos as well. And you'll also see my affiliate links, and I'll include the materials that you need for this project. Thanks for watching and hope you have a great day. Bye.